Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Omani books and heritage elements attract attention of visitors of Lithuania International Book Fair. The UN mediator to Yemen says that Yemen's parties have agreed to form a People's Transitional Council to help govern the country. And a handicraft exhibition in the Vilayah of Mudebi highlights craftsmen's talents and promotes their products. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. The Omani-Kuwaiti Joint Committee discussed in its meeting in Muscat aspects of cooperation in economic fields and investment opportunities available in the Sultanate. The two sides signed memoranda of understanding on economic and investment fields, employment and training, consultations and exchange of laws and legislations, in addition to civil service affairs. The memoranda was signed from the Omani side by His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, and His Excellency Sheikh Khalid bin Umar al-Marhoun, Minister of Civil Service. His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, said that during the speech that the meeting is meant for cooperation and to open fields of joint interest to strengthen bonds of the two nations. Whereas the Kuwaiti chief guest said that 27 Kuwaiti institutions are discussing with their Omani counterparts ways of cooperation in all fields, in addition to around 20 agreements. Latest statistics indicate that the number of Kuwaiti investors in the Sultanate reached 9,300, and this indicator can be increased after the signing of the Memoranda of Understanding. President Dalia Grybauskaitė of the Republic of Lithuania opened Lithuania International Book Fair that commenced its deliberations in the capital, Vilnius, today. The Sultanate, represented by the Ministry of Information, is taking part in the 4-day book fair. After the opening, President Grybauskaitė visited the ministry's pavilion, which includes a number of Omani books in Arabic and English languages in the cultural, literary, economic and tourism fields. The Sultanate's pavilion includes a number of books such as the Annual Book of Oman 2014-2015, The March of Welfare and Speech of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said. The pavilion also screens a documentary about the Sultanate, highlighting the achievements that have been achieved during the last 45 years. The pavilion also includes a section for the Omani crafts and another section for the traditional costumes, besides presenting a number of photos of the Omani nature. Yemen's feuding parties have agreed on a People's Transitional Council to help govern the country and guide it out of political crisis, UN mediator Jamal bin Amr announced today. Bin Amr said in a statement, "This progress is not a final agreement, but an important breakthrough that paves the way towards a comprehensive agreement." As part of the new formula, Yemen's old 301-member House of Representatives will stay in place. Instead of traditional upper house, a new transitional council, whose numbers were not specified, will consist of traditionally unrepresented sectors. Together, the two bodies will make legislation building Yemen's transition. Ben Omar added that arrangements for the vacated presidency and ministries along with security required further dialogue. 3 car bombs ripped through the eastern Libyan city of Quba today, killing 40 people and wounding 70. 3 bombs exploded today at a petrol station, the local security headquarters, and the town council headquarters in Quba, which is Parliamentary Speaker Aquila Saleh's hometowns in Darna. A security official said that the car bombs are probably suicide attacks, but no more details were immediately available. As this week's White House summit on violent extremism wrapped up yesterday, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry met for bilateral talks with some attendees. Delegates from about 65 countries gathered for the summit's closing session at the State Department. Among those attending the summit was Arab League Secretary General Nabil Al-Arabi, who gave joint statements with Kerry after the summit.
He comes here to Washington at obviously a particularly challenging moment in the region. The Arab League obviously is based with its headquarters in Cairo, but it is responsible for all of the Arab relationships. And Nabil has been a solid partner in trying to find ways to address violent extremism, to address ISIL, to deal with the Middle East peace process, Syria, Egypt, and its transitions. And more importantly, we have a lot more to do. And so it's with pleasure.
But it's not only the Middle East or the Arab countries, it's the whole world now. As you know, this is an international phenomenon. I think the President today, President Obama, made it very clear that all countries in the world are together in the same boat. If we want to succeed in getting rid of this heinous organizations, we have to work all together.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Stay tuned, because still to come in our news bulletin. An old German warship is the trade lifeline on the Tanzanian lake. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Celebrating Nizwa as the capital of Islamic culture for 2015, a poetic evening was held in Nizwa Fort under the auspices of His Excellency Dr. Sheikh Khalifa bin Mohammed Al-Saadi, Governor of Dakhiliya. The evening witnessed a huge participation from Omani poets and members of the society. The poems delivered by the poets included themes on the love of the country and its leader, His Majesty the Sultan, in addition to the historical significance of the Wilaya of Nizwa. The Directorate General of Education in the Governorate of North Sharqiya held a ceremony to honor those excelled in Chemistry Olympiad. It came to highlight the students' achievements in this field as well as to motivate them so as to compete on the Sultanate's level. The participants expressed that the Olympiad helped to enhance their capabilities and talents in chemistry field as well as to introduce them on the basics and working mechanism of scientists in this field. A handicraft exhibition was held in Al-Inshirah School for Basic Education in the Niaba of Samet Al-Shan in the Wilaya of Mudaybi. It came to showcase various craft products famous in the Omani society as well as to highlight the local talents in this field. It witnessed a participation from a number of craftsmen in the area who are keen to preserve these traditional handicrafts in addition to passing them on to the next generation. The handicrafts were made of palm tree products with various shapes in addition to the art of weaving and some accessories such as necklaces, khanjars and other traditional items. The participants stressed on the significance of such traditional crafts as part of the Omani heritage. Oman Oil April delivery recorded a slight increase today by 86 cents to reach $57.59 per barrel. Oman Oil closed yesterday at $56.73 per barrel. The average Oman Oil March delivery is $46.73. The MV Liemba set sail 101 years ago as a German warship on the East Africa front. Now a passenger ferry still sailing down Lake Tanganyika. The ship links the past and the present. Here's a report.
The MV Liemba set sail 100 years ago as a German warship in East Africa. It inspired the book and classic film The African Queen, starring Katharine Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart. Now, operating as one of the world's oldest passenger ferries, it plots a calmer course. Alongside rickety canoes, this former warship travels 600 kilometers down Lake Tanganyika to Zambia and then back, piled high with produce and maize and up to 600 passengers.
Liemba is the only safe means of transport along the lake or the coast of Lake Tanganyika. So historically it's very important to Tanzania as a country, but again it's very important for the people along the coast of Lake Tanganyika.
Stops at communities along the way quickly become aquatic carnivals. Launches, weighted down with revelers, come to welcome newlyweds home. Traders haggle over the price of produce. The ship is an essential lifeline for the people who live along this remote lake shore.
I think it's safe to travel with the Liemba. I'm scared of the smaller boats. There's a lot of turbulence with them, and I think I'm too old now to struggle with the turbulent boats. So when the Liemba stops travelling, I'll stay at home. That would make me poor because it means I wouldn't work.
Formerly called the Bulletin, the Liemba was built in Germany in 1913 and transported to western Tanzania in 5,000 crates. It was intended to safeguard the former German colony, but in 1916 it was scuttled by its captain to prevent its seizure by the advancing British. Over a decade later, the ship was raised from the depths, recommissioned, and put into service as a passenger ferry. 100 years since World War I, the Liemba still plies the distance between past and present.
It is carrying the history of the country in the sense that it was launched at the time when World War I came, and it was this war which ended the existence of Germans in Tanganyika. Just as we keep other monuments such as buildings that were made during the German time, the railway that was made by the Germans, so is the boats.
Tanzania and Germany are in conversation about how to maintain and repair the ship, but the future of the Liemba is uncertain. The ship requires constant maintenance, and some have questioned whether it might be less expensive to simply replace it with a newer vessel. But while a new ship would still link trading points, the connection to the past would be lost forever.
Come the lunar year. Most Vietnamese families buy a kimiko tree, a symbol of prosperity whose candied fruits were once a delicacy, but are now left uneaten. The reason is in the following report.
Hanoi streets are even busier than usual as the Lunar New Year holiday approaches. Kumquat trees are a hot commodity. They're a traditional symbol of prosperity, and the fruit is used to make a seasonal delicacy. But many won't be eating it this year because of health fears over the use of pesticides.
We can eat these kumquats, but you must wait at least 2 weeks after the New Year and wash them a lot to try and get the chemicals off the fruits. Otherwise, it's not good for your health.
The kumquat issue is part of a wider problem in Vietnam. There are regular food safety scandals relating to the overuse of pesticides. It's thought that many are illegally smuggled in from neighboring China. Bu Hu Nhung grows cabbages on the outskirts of Hanoi. Like many, he isn't aware of the health concerns.
I just follow the instructions on the packet.
Vietnam is trying to boost its fruit and vegetable exports, but experts say the country must first clean up its act.
Both farmers and consumers risk being poisoned. These chemical pesticides may also eliminate useful insects and eventually cause epidemics for the plants.
There are some small organic farms producing safer food, but they're much more expensive. So this Lunar New Year, many people will have to settle for admiring rather than eating the fruits from their kumquat trees.
Heavy snowfall overnight left the Jordanian capital of Amman paralyzed this morning. Some of the few cars out on the road were getting stuck in deep snow. Further snow is expected in areas 600 meters above sea level and higher. The Golden Dome of the Rock and other traditional Jerusalem landmarks were capped by snow. Snow also landed today in parts of the West Bank. In Gaza, heavy rains that started yesterday have been forecast for the rest of the week. A heavy snowstorm dumped 10 inches of snow and shut down roads leading in and out of Jerusalem and blanketed Israel's desert with a rare layer of white. Meanwhile, a heavy fall of snow caused travel chaos in Istanbul, forcing the temporary closure of Turkey's main airport and causing hundreds of traffic accidents. The famed minarets and domes of the historic city's skyline layered in snow after a heavy fall overnight. Turkish Airlines were forced to delay or cancel hundreds of flights. The snowstorm also closed the shipping channel through the Bosphorus Strait, one of the busiest in the world, and forced the cancellation of most intercity ferry services. Now for the general weather forecast. Clear to partly cloudy skies will prevail over the northern parts of the Sultanate, with chances of dust-raising winds in desert and open areas. Winds will be south to southeasterly light to moderate to active. Seas will be moderate with a maximum wave height of 2 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Omani books and heritage elements attract attention of visitors of Lithuania International Book Fair. The UN mediator to Yemen says that Yemen's parties have agreed to form a People's Transitional Council to help govern the country. And a handicraft exhibition in the Vilayah of Mudabi highlights craftsmen's talents and promotes their products. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studio, thank you for watching and good night.